Close the doors of your mind from all carnal will, all carnal thought, all emotions, all of your desires, all of your fears, all laziness, all doubt within your inner being, your inner thoughts, all beings within yourself that one has not brought into subjection, and bring them into subjection to the knowledge of Yahushua Mashiach, and under your feet, even under Yahuwah's feet, under his Kaseh, his sapphire throne, and bring them under your feet as your footstool, and be in control. For today is a day of freedom. Today is a day for another Shabath, that one may cease from all their own ways, their own desires, and their own mind, and their own understanding, that they may push themselves and understand that their flesh don't want them to understand at the bar. That your eyes and your ears and your nose, your mouth, all the things you put in your mouth this week, whether it was good or whether it was bad, don't want you to obey the bar. Just like any other thing within yourself, within your inner being and your inner thoughts, that tries to hinder you from the knowledge of Yahushua Mashiach, the knowledge of Yahuwah, and to walk in his ways. These are the things that one must control within oneself, within their own faculties, within their own body, their building, their mishkan, their mikdash, their tent. So today we acknowledge the one who made all of the nahar, all of the har of the earth, all of the mountains and rivers and streams on the surface of the earth and under the earth. The one who made the mountains and the streams and the rivers even outside of the earth, even throughout the rakia and the firmament. The one who allows the water and rivers to flow from his throne, a clear crystal throne, and is the bar as rain and snow, as rivers and streams, as waterfalls may clean and purify one's thoughts, and even as it is burn the very things off, and to close up all wounds and all things within oneself in their inner being. So as we move forward in the truth of Yahuwah, because the truth of Yahuwah endures unto everlasting life. He said, labor not for the meat, the food, the akla, the akal that perishes. For all these things will perish with the using, and to decompose, even as your natural man is temporary, that the illuminated being, the enlightened being may rise forth. So as we move forward in kindness, we move forward in aha, we move forward in simcha. We move forward in patience. We move forward in faithfulness and meekness and gentleness and self-control. Because these are all the understandings that our flesh don't want us to understand. Right, this is the Philippians chapter 4, Philippi chapter 4 and verse 12. The book of Philippians chapter 4 verse 12. I know how to be brought low and I know how to abound. It says, do you know how to be brought low? Do you know how to be brought to an Ainu, Anah, Shafal type state? Do you know how to go from being rich to being poor? Do you know how to go from being exalted to being thrown down to the ground? Do you know how to be going to be second in command, a third command in your father's house, to being a servant at somebody's feet like a serpent? Do you understand that? Because if you don't, then you don't know what Shaul is talking about. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. Do you know how to grow? Do you know how to grow? Do you know how when the sun comes, the shamash comes, and then it allows things to grow up? Do you know how to be watered? Do you allow yourself to be watered? Is your ear uncircumcised? Do you know how to abound? Do you know how to put things aside that you may go higher and higher? Do you know how to lay aside every weight in the sin? Kata'ah, sin, not a hatred, right, that you have within oneself? Do you know how to put aside these things, the Sunday, inside of your heart? Then you don't know how to abound, because all that stuff weigh you down. Right? And it says, in every circumstance. So do you know how to do it in any and every circumstance? When things ain't going your way, when things ain't going the way you want it. When you have hurricanes, storms, earthquakes, when you have disagreements, relationship problems, demons, shadim, powerful beings, right, shutting off everything, destroying your life, freezing your accounts, doing all these things. I'm talking about in every circumstance. Then you don't understand what Shaul was talking about. When you get beat down, like Shaul did, or like others have done over the eons, do you still continue in Amunah? Through slander and gossip and hatred and jealousy and envy and complaining and mumbling and people trying to destroy you, do you still continue in Amunah? through loss, through judgments, right? Do you still continue in the movement? Through rejection, do you still continue? Guess what? I have learned the secret of facing plenty. So when you've learned this, which means you have to, in order to learn something, you have to experience it. You can't learn it from somebody telling you. You can't learn things like this from somebody, I'm gonna tell you about my story on how I did it. No, you gotta tell your story, how you got up the mountain. How you got up the mountain? I had blisters, I fell on my neck, I bust my knee, I hit my toe, I scraped my ankle, right? A snake came out and bit me. I was chased by a bear. All these things take place. How'd you get up the mountain? What's your story? How'd you learn it? Because that's the whole point. I learned the secrecy of facing plenty and hunger and abundance and need. See, I got stranded. I didn't have a bunch of food. I was poor. Nobody was there to feed me. Nobody cared. They left me in prison. Nobody gave me no bread, like Mashah when he was in there for 10 years. Nobody gave me anything. Nobody gave me no comfort, no pat on my back. You know what he said? Abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. He said, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. So who is his strength? See, when you start trusting in human strength, like the Psalms of David and the Pseudepigrapha, you talk about trusting in human strength, then guess what? You ain't got no strength. You're not strong as you think you are. You said, who gave me strength to live? Who gave Sha'shy strength to tear a whole line in two? Who gave him strength at the last moment to push his hand between two pillars? And to slay more in his death when he was alive? Right, who gave them the strength? Who gave Yehuda the strength to go up first? In the book of Judges, chapter 1. Who gave Yehuda the strength to leap over a wall in the book of Yasha? Right? Who gave Sarah the strength to continue to pray in a place where a man was trying to rape and touch her and get her to commit adultery? Who gave her the strength? When Abraham and them prayed and they were in sync in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Who gave them that strength? Who allowed them to even get through that? And it says, it was kind of you to share my trouble, right? And you Philippians yourselves know that in the beginning of the truth, when I left Macedonia, no congregation entered into partnership with me in giving and receiving except you only. Even in Thessalonica, right? Going to Psalms 27:1. Psalms 27:1. Psalms 27:1. Psalms 27, Tahalim 27. Yahuwah is my light and salvation. Yahuwah or Yasha. Yahuwah is my light and my salvation. Yadeh Yahuwah, whom shall I fear? Yahuwah is the stronghold of my life. Whom shall I be afraid? Why? Whom shall I be afraid? Because Yahuwah is the strength of my life. Who should I be afraid? When evildoers assail me to eat up my flesh, what we just talked about, leaning, what they do? What the lean cows did to the fat cows? On the other side of the river, because there was a famine on land, they came to eat the other lean cow, to eat the fat cows on the other side of the river. You know what he says? When evildoers assail me to eat up my flesh, my adversaries and my foes, it is they who stumble and fall, right? Because you know what's going to happen after the lean cows eat up that big cow, they're going to fall and go to sleep. They're going to go to sleep, like coughing them when they were at the temple. When they were praying with Yahushua was praying with them, he said, you can't pray for me for 1 hour? Because they were full, and they denied him. But he said they're going to eat up my flesh, because you know why? You can't trust in human strength when these situations come. You can't, right? You can't trust in human strength, right? This is the book of Psalms, book of Tahalim. You can't trust in human strength, right? Book of Psalms, chapter 18. Psalm chapter 18. Tahalim, chapter 18, verse 26. Actually, go to Psalm chapter 18, verse 25. Tahalim, Psalm chapter 18, verse 25. With the merciful, you show yourself merciful, right? So if you merciful, Yahuwah will show himself merciful to you. So if you don't show mercy to your neighbor, right? You don't show mercy to anybody, right? First, Yahuwah will rebuke you, right? He'll tell you what you're wrong, but then he'll show you mercy if you repent. And so if you can't show mercy to somebody who repent, then Yahuwah say, I ain't gonna be merciful to you. Because Yahuwah said Yahuwah will be with you while you be with him. If you repent, Yahuwah will show mercy to you. If you confess your sins, he is faithful and just to forgive you your sin. But first you gotta repent. In order for you to know your sin, he gotta tell you your sin. With the merciful, you show yourself merciful. And with the blameless man or woman, you show yourself blameless. He's like, you blameless, I'm blameless. I'm gonna show myself blameless in you. If you blameless, if you perfect, if you tamim. With the purified, you show yourself pure. If you purify your mind and your heart, your mind, like we talked about in the Apocalypse of Zechariah or Saphania, he said pure hands, pure prayer, pure thoughts, pure prayer. Unless you upset the whole Shamayim if you don't do it that way. And you know what happens if you upset the whole Shamayim, right? We got Malachi like 200 feet tall. You're going to be hiding, right? It says with the purified, you show yourself pure. And with the crooked, you make yourself seem torturous, right? Because you like, man, ain't nothing happening. Everything moving slow. Because you still got crookedness in your heart. That's the only reason. And guess what it says? For you save a humble people. So you ain't new. You know how Shaul said, I have learned how to be brought low. I learned how to be abound. I learned how to suffer hunger. You ain't got humble enough. You ain't a new. You ain't a nah. You ain't shafal. You ain't Enua. But the haughty eyes you will bring down. Now you see why Shaul said, I know how to be brought down. I know how to be abased. Because in those times of your life, you get haughty. And you get your eyes and your hair lifted up. And then Shaul said, I know how to get taken down too. I have my Nebuchadnezzar moments. People say, I ain't never had a Nebuchadnezzar moment. I've been knew Yahuwah rules in the kingdom of men. He give it to whomever he will. And then, people do, they listen to that lie. And then they lie to themselves, and then you say, okay. For it is you who is the light. For it is you who lights my lamp. Yahuwah, my Elohim, lightens my darkness, right? That's what he does. Going to verse 31. For who is Elohim but Yahuwah? Huh? Who is Elohim but Yahuwah? And who is my rock except our Elohim, except the Elohim of Yasharal? So when you read the book of Psalms, you're reading about the Elohim of Yasharal, the 12 tribes, Shalosh Matar, Yasharal. The Shalosh ben Yasharal. And it says, the Elohim who equipped me with strength. Huh? Yahuwah. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. That's why, so you look at yourself and you say, so why can't you do things through him who strengthens you? Why can't you? Why not you? Male and female, Zakar Nakabah, why can't you? Why won't you? And it says, and made my way blameless. So in order for you to get blameless, you got to go through situations and you got to get strengthened in order to be blameless. He made my feet like feet of a deer. You ever seen a deer? You see them all the time. Right? A deer, a roe. And what they do? They run around, and guess what? When they go up the hill, they boom, boom, and you go up the hill real fast. It make you real agile. He said, I don't want to be agile. Well, this is what he's talking about. He make me agile like a deer. Quick moving. You know what else he said? And set me secure on the heights. That's the only way you're going to get up there. Now you see what I'm talking about. How you going to get up the mountain and you got the deer feet? How you going to get up the mountain? He said, if your feet ain't like a hind deer, how you going to get up the mountain? And you know what it says? He trains my hands to war. So we talk about clean hands. He said he trains my hands to war. My hands, my yad and my kaf. You know, the 10th and 11th letter of the alphabet. You know, when a man and woman join hand in hand, you know you got the right hand with the left hand. He teaches your hands to war. When you actually walk together with your hands together. Because when you're walking together, ain't no evil spirit coming around you. People say, why? Because that's what happens. We read it in the book of Thomas. He said, man, when they see a husband and wife together, the evil spirit don't dare touch them when they ain't not. Right? That female and that male spirit gonna come right at you. And you know what happens after that? He trains my hands to war so that my arms can bend a bow of bronze. And he said, I'm weak. Why would you say that? Notice it's all about training. It's all it's about. It's all about training. So how you gonna break these bonds, these chains on your ankles and your feet and your mind? How you gonna break these bands and chains and things that got you bound? Some people are bound. You say you're bound. You say you're bound with fornication, adultery, fornication, lust, hatred, jealousy, envy, strife, complaining, pride, mumbling, grumbling, tiredness, stale, laziness, rivalries, conceitedness, and many other things that one still has not moved past. It says, you have given me the shield of your salvation, and your right hand has supported me, and your gentleness made me great. So his gentleness. All these are all part of the image and likeness of Yahuwah. These traits will allow other people around you to be great when you're gentle. Man, male, female, mother, father, son, and daughter. You want to be great. Matter of fact, Nashim, Anashim, Ish, Isha. Your right hand supported me. When you show support for each other and you have gentleness, it's going to make you great. But when you don't do it, nothing's going to happen. Right? Nothing's going to happen. It says, you gave a wide place for my steps under me, and my feet did not slip. Right? So when you guard each other's steps, that people don't stumble and fall, don't leave something on the ground and let them stumble on purpose, then guess what? Ain't nothing gonna happen good for nobody. Nothing's gonna happen. Get what it said? I pursued my enemies and overtook them. You're not gonna pursue your enemy. You're not gonna defeat Satan, Mastama, and all the beings in your life if you're doing these things. Get what it said? I pursued my enemies and overtook them, and did not turn back till they were consumed. You're not going to win. Get what? I thrust them through so that they were not able to rise. They're going to rise back up inside of you. The demons, the shadim, they're going to rise back up. If you keep doing these if you don't do these type of behaviors, and you know what happens? They fell under my feet. They will never be under your feet and be your footstool. They never will. They will always rule you. You'll be afraid of your flesh. That's how we talk about. If you're afraid of your flesh, it will rule over you. It's going to rule you. And you'll never put it under your feet. You'll never bring it into subjection into the knowledge of Yahushua Mashiach, because you do not have no support for nobody. You don't show no gentleness. You try, and he said, you try to trip somebody else's foot up just so you can get ahead of them. And you think, and people saying, you're gonna win the wars? You're gonna win the battles in your life? But guess what it says? Verse 39. For you equip me with strength for the battle. That's what you get. That's why you think I can do all things through Yahuwah who strengthens me. You made those who rise against me sink under me. You ain't never gonna, when your flesh and these behaviors, your sins of your youth rise up, you'll never put them under your feet. This is both male and female. This is both male and female, right? All this is a part of it, right? So this is the book of 1 Corinthians. I think it's James. Actually, go to the book of James chapter 5, I think it is. James chapter 5, 5 and 13. James chapter 5, verse 13. It says, for you were called to freedom, brothers and sisters. So what do you mean, how you gonna get freedom? You gotta win your battles. Because you know, when people try to put you in the slavery, people know that's the problem. Nobody's never been through a real battle before. I'm talking about like full-fledged, you getting ready to die type battle. Where you actually need, and you striving to get blood. And things really actually happen. He's saying, oh, I have this, I have that. No. He's saying, how you gonna win your battles when you tripping over each other, you tripping each other, you ain't showing no support. Matter of fact, ain't nobody hand in hand. Matter of fact, with their yacht in their coffin ain't clean. How you gonna win your battle? Because you ain't humble. And it says, only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh. See, your flesh gonna rise right back up. And you know what happens? But through love, serve one another. Don't trip nobody up. Support each other and guard each other's steps. And you'll win the battle. It's like we're gonna purposely go walking, and then I put a rock in the way, and then I hope you trip over it and fall on your head. Because I know it's gonna make you angry, and I just want to make you upset. These are all the things that don't allow us to win the battles. This is why he said, this is why people ain't great. And get what it says. For the whole law, the Torah, is fulfilled in one word. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. So whatever you want others to do for you, do for them. Guard their steps, support them. You want people to say, I want all this thing. I want people to do it. He said, do it for somebody else. But if you bite and devour one another, that's why I say, why think he said, when evildoers come in and sell me and bite and eat my flesh, the lean cows, when they come bite and devour the fat cows. Everybody by the river. You know what? Watch out that you are not consumed by one another. You start eating each other. Because there's a famine in the land. Not of bread and water. Like, you got plenty of food. You go to the supermarket everywhere. It's food everywhere. Right? And you go to some countries, they be like, oh, it's starving there. Man, it's bananas and fruits and everywhere. They grow big, giant fruits. They just the people around are just the wicked. Just evil. They don't want to share it. If you got a whole land, you call it the motherland, but you got all this land to plant on, and then nobody in other countries want to share with each other. And then you got all these things. You got all these bananas and food and fruits and all these things and land to grow stuff, and then you don't want to support and help each other. Why would Yahuwah barak your land? Why would he do that? You trip each other up. Why would he give a place like that and allow them to increase and be great? We have thousands of fruit orchards and fruits and vegetables. We huge people. And then the other side of the same land, you got people skinny and dying. How does that work? And you think, oh yeah, Yahuwah's going to barak our land, the motherland. No, Yahuwah's going to curse that land even more. It's really that simple. He will curse that land even more. Our GDP has grown to 6,000%. But then the next country next to you, the same color skin, they ain't got the same. You know what happened? The sad part, they be starving to death. It's ridiculous. But it says, but if you bite and devour one another, watch out that you be consuming one another. And you be like, why everybody fighting and killing each other? Why the neighborhood next to you, they gotta get the whole National Guard to go to one neighborhood. And people saying, why are they doing that? It's because the people ain't supporting each other, they ain't guarding each other's steps. And they got hatred. They ain't cleaning their hands. They destroying each other. Because people don't care about nobody no more. They trampling on each other. And then people say, why are people in this situation? Why are households destroyed? Right? It's not that hard. Verse 16, but I say, walk in the Ruach. This is another, he said, you got to walk in the Ruach. Now you see why you need it. And you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. Because why? For the desires of the flesh are against the Ruach, and the desires of the Ruach are against the flesh. For these are opposed to each other, to keep you from doing the things you want to do. because it ruled you. What happens when you get into slavery? When somebody rules over you, you can't do what you want to do. You can't travel where you want to go. You can't get your paperwork. They won't let you go. They got to approve it. You're not going anywhere. Where you going? But if you are led by the Ruach, you are not under the Torah, right? Which means you ain't breaking the Torah. Because remember, the Torah is showing you what to not do, right? And that's all a part of it. Because everything that we do is all for that purpose, right? He said you can't bite and devour each other, right? Because that's the whole point. Right, going to the book of Ezekiel chapter 38 and verse 1. Yakaziel chapter 38 verse 1. Yakaziel, Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 1. Yakaziel chapter 38 verse 1. It says, the word of Yahuwah came to me, son of Adam, set your face toward Gog in the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and Nabal against them, saying, thus says Yahuwah, Elohim, behold, I am against you, O Gog, chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn you about and put hooks in your jaws, and I will bring you out. I'm gonna fish you out. You ever seen one of them Goliath grouper and they hook it in the mouth? Go look at that. And I think it's huge. He said, I'm gonna hook you in, I'm gonna bring you up, hook you in your jaws and bring you out. And all your army horses and horsemen, all of them clothed in full armor, a great host, all of them with buckler and shield, yielding sword. Persia, Cush, you know that descended from Ham. Yahuwah, she said, you trace back Ham's lineage. Yahuwah still got me. Yahuwah still thinking about Ham today. Nizraim, he's still thinking about him. Because he still got whole harbored the seed of Cain in that teaching. Persia and Put are with them. He's like, all y'all together. And all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all the hordes of Beth Togarmah, from the uttermost parts of the north to the hordes. Many peoples are with you. Get what it says. Be ready and keep ready. You and all your hosts that are assembled about you. And be on guard for them. After many days, you will be mustered. In the latter years, you will go against the land that is restored from war. Say what? Because once you win your battle, you know how you win your battles? And people watching each other's steps, people supporting each other, people not trampling on each other, and doing all these things. And you win your battles and your war, guess what? Yahuwah said, I'm going to send you another battle. And if you are, you know why he keeps doing it over and over again? To test you. To see if you actually care about each other. To see if you actually care. Because the more wars you do, boom, another war. And you don't repair nothing, he'll send another war. Boom, another war. Then in that third war, you might not live. You might not survive. Because you ain't never repaired nothing through the other wars. He said, you still ain't supporting, you still ain't gentle. You still ain't got no gentleness. You still ain't watching these other steps, and you're still not supporting. So if he sent another war, will you survive it? You get what it says? After many days, you will be mustered. In the latter years, you will go against the land that is restored from war, the land whose people were gathered from many peoples upon mountains of Yasharal, which had been a continual waste. Like, so are you still in the wasteland? Because sometimes people say, oh, we're repaired and we're back. He said, are we in a wasteful situation right now? And if he's in another battle, are you ready for that? Its people were brought out from the peoples and now dwell securely, all of them. See? So you see what happened? He said, we were dwelling securely, right? And he said, guess what? Boom, boom, boom. All these things start coming at you, and then what? You gotta make sure there ain't no wasteland. You gotta repair everything. There ain't no time. He said, and then guess what? He sent another one. Because what else is there to do? Like, why would he give you all the knowledge, be not helping the author, information, knowledge, understanding, and all that, not put it to the test? What's the point? What's the point? I got to put you in front of an idol. I got to put you in front of some things. I got to put you in front of a king. I got to put you in front of a situation where, oh, let me see how you do. Do they really support each other? Are they really gentle, meek, and lowly? Are they really that type of people? Let's go see. Let's see. Let's send something. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Let's send it in her life. Like she said she loved her husband. Let's see. He say he loved his children. Let's see. She says that she will. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Let's see. Right. That's all you want to do. I want to know. I want to know what's in your heart to see if you will keep the commandments or no. Because some people say, I'll keep the Amar, the Debar, the word. But then when that real situation comes, let's see if you keep it. And get what it says. And now dwell securely, all of them, and you will advance, coming on like a storm. There it comes. So people be thinking like, oh, these storms are over. We have hurricane, you have the tempest, the storm, the tsunamis, all the things. You have all these things that may come at you. And you be thinking like, man, why the storm coming? The storm coming to test you, to see where your amunah at, to see if you can keep the commandments or no. That's all it's there for. I want to see if you really care. I want to see if you really care about me. I want to see if you really do it with your whole heart. I want to see if you will praise me like you ain't never praised me before when everything's getting ready to be taken. He says, you will be like a cloud covering the land, and you and all your hordes and many peoples with you. That's the whole point. Thus says Yahuwah Elohim on that day, thoughts will come into your mind. Now you see what happens. You know what happens when we do get these storms in our life? Thoughts do come in your mind. You be like, man, why is he doing this? What's going on? What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? How are we going to get through this? But he said, I'm going to thoughts will come in your mind, and you will devise an evil scheme. See? So Yahuwah puts thoughts in these evil people's mind to test you. And then he said, you're going to devise an evil scheme to take that person down. And you know what happens? And people be thinking, I'm the persecuted. But then you become the persecutor. And you be thinking like, I'm going to get him. I'm going to devise an evil scheme. And not even knowing Yahuwah put it in your mind to test those people. To test that man. To test his mind. To test his heart. To test his resolve. To test his strength. To test if you really do trust in him, as Yahuwah says, to see if you really actually want this thing or not. To test her strength, to see if she actually want to be with you or not. To see if you actually care about you or not. Yahuwah come to test you. Because I want to see. He says, and you will devise an evil scheme and say, I will go up against the land of unwalled villages, and I will fall upon the quiet people. Uh-oh. He coming for who? The quiet people. You know, we talk about them, you know, the humble Aydah, the meek, the lowly. He coming among the quiet people. You know, I'm so quiet. Well, guess what? You are prey. You are the person he wants. Because you know what happens when you quiet, you know, that means you're in peace. Like, man, this person coming to mess up my shalom, right? My peace, right? But in actuality, he says, I will fall upon the quiet people who dwell securely. That's the only reason they come. And why do you think you will put evil schemes and plots in people's mind and they come at your house? They come at your life. They come at your reputation. They slander and gossip. They spy. They do all these things. Why do you think they come at you? Why do you think they're trying to find out who you are? Why do you think they're doing all this stuff? Why do you think they're trying to take you down? Because it's a part of it. The land of unwalled villages, I will fall upon the quiet people and dwell securely. All of them dwelling without walls and having no bars or gates. He's like, man, they so secure, they like, you ain't gonna do nothing to me. You know what happens after that? To seize spoil, to take stuff from you, and to carry off plunder, and to turn your hand against the waste places that are now inhabited land, and the people who were gathered from the nations. Why? You will put you in a place, it will wasteland it, and you made it all nice and great and nice and neat. right? Pulled all the trash out, all the body, buried everything, did all these things. You got you all secure, and you're all nice and neat and quiet. So why? What's the point? That's why he says it's always a night of much watching. And the people who were gathered from the nations, who have acquired livestock and goods, who dwell at the center of the earth, Sheba and Dedan and merchants of Tarshish and all its leaders will say to you, you're going to have even leaders come at you. You're going to have even leaders coming at you, trying to figure out who you are, both male and female. Nashim and Nashim, they're going to try to figure out. You know what they're going to say to you? Have you come to seize spoil? He's going to ask you, they're going to say to you, are you come to seize our spoil? He says, have you assembled your host to carry off plunder, to carry away silver and gold, and to take away livestock and goods, to seize great spoil? You know what? You're going to have it. You know how you get them calls on the phone? So you coming to take everything I got? You coming to seize everything I have? Therefore, son of Adam, Naba, and say to God, thus says Yahuwah, Elohim, on that day when my people, Yasharah, are dwelling securely, will you not know it? So Yahuwah already telling you before it happened. Will you already know? He said, you already gonna know. Yahuwah already know what you're gonna do. I already put it in your mind. And when they dwell securely, I already know that you all plotted and schemed and did all these things that come at me, can't come at Yasharah, those who dwell securely and are quiet. He said, I already put it in your mind to do it. And don't you know it? And look at what he says. And you will come from a place out of the uttermost parts of the north, and you and many peoples with you, all of them riding on horses in great hosts, a mighty army. You will come against my people, Yasharah, like a cloud covering the land. In the latter days I will bring you against my land, that the nations may know me. That's the only way he say, so you dwell securely and quiet in your peaceful life, and then all these things come at you in order for Yahuwah to get his name out there, that they may know him, because it ain't about you. And when through you, Gog, say what? Through you, Gog, I vindicate my Qdashness before their eyes. I'm going to do all that through you. Thus says Yahuwah Elohim, are you he of whom I spoke in the former days by my servants, the Nabi'im of Yasharah, who is though in those days Nabat for years, that I would bring you against them? You are the same man. Y'all the same people, Gog and Magog. But on that day, the day that Gog shall come against the land of Yasharah, declares Yahuwah Elohim, my wrath will be roused in my anger. For in my jealousy and in my blazing wrath, I declare on that day, there shall be a great earthquake in the land of Yasharah. He said, man, it's going to be a great earthquake. And you know what's going to happen after that? The fish of the sea and the birds of the Shamayim and the beasts of the field and all creeping things that creep on the ground. That's Bereshit chapter 1, verse 25. You know what he said? And all the people that are on the face of the earth shall quake at my presence. So Gog and Magog, y'all very significant. You all are very significant. You all going to make Yahuwah's name great. Congratulations, and ain't nothing you can do about it, because Yahuwah already put in your mind to do it. And you're going to attack people who are at peace and shalom, who are quiet, who are humble, meek, and lowly, and there's nothing you can do about it. Even if you try to, you know how people say, I'm going to try to change my mind after Yahuwah said, I'm going to put it in your heart and your mind to do it. You're going to try to change your mind. No, I ain't going to do it. And you try to travel across the country, be on an island somewhere, go into space, go do somewhere, and then Yahuwah will bring you right back. You be like, man, how I get back here? He said, I told you you're going to fulfill my debar. And people be like, oh, that's not going to happen. Okay. You go travel throughout the cosmos. You go to the quantum world. Go make yourself small and go be there, and Yahuwah will bring you right back out of it. You're like, see, here you come. For in my jealousy and my blazing wrath, I declare on that day that there will be a great earthquake in the land of Yasharal. The fish of the sea, and the birds of Shaman, and the beasts of the field, and all the creeping things that creep on the ground, and all the people of the earth, on the face of the earth, shall quake at my presence. And the mountains shall be thrown down, and the cliffs shall fall, and every wall stall tumble to the ground. And I will summon a sword against Gog and Magog on all my mountains, declares Yahuwah Elohim. Every man's sword will be against his brother. Then he said, when you get there, and when you start messing with people, this is what happens. This is going to happen to you when you start messing with people who are in quiet and peace and shalom and anu and humble and meek and lowly. And he dwelling in safety, and you know what happens? And then you come and you do something foolish. And you know what he said? You gonna fight your brothers. All your brothers and sisters are gonna be fighting each other. Because you know why? Because these people are in quiet and shalom and anu and demand, so therefore, and you coming to disturb them, so I'm gonna make you all fight each other. And they still gonna be in quiet and shalom and peace while you fighting each other. Guess what it says? You know what it says? Every man's sword will be against his brother. Now you see why he said, you take care, you be consumed one of another. Especially when you plotting and scheming, because who put the plot and scheme in your mind? Who gave you the mind to put it in your mind to go against your brother and sister with a plot and a scheme? You who did it? You just like Gog and Magog. He said, you are the armies of Gog and Magog. And guess what? And it says, I will summon the sword against Gog on the mountains, and declare you all, and every man will be against his brother with pestilence and bloodshed, and I will enter into judgment with him. He said, you're going to start killing, you're going to be slandering and shed blood. Your hands ain't going to be clean. You got bloody hands. You know what? You know how you're going to have bloody hands? You know how you're going to have blood? Because you didn't want them to save their life. So you got blood on their hands. You got blood on your hands. You were like Qahalath 33 says. He said, if you don't want that wicked man to turn from his wicked way, then I'm with blood I'm required at your hand. You got blood on your hand, male and female. And guess what? With pestilence and bloodshed, I will enter the judgment with him, and I will rain upon him and his hordes and many peoples who are with him. So if you like him, and if you're doing these things, then guess what? Torrential rains and hailstorms. How you say, what do you mean? That's floods. Look around the world. What do you see? Floods. Torrential rain. You go to, what, Fort Lauderdale, 10 feet of water in one spot. Dubai, 10 feet of water in one spot. Right? Different places, right? All that's a part of it. And it says what? And hailstones, fire and sulfur, volcanoes eruption, earthquakes. So I will show my greatness and my Qdash, and make myself known in the eyes of many nations. How you gonna do that? By doing it? Why you keep doing it around the world right now? People say, I ain't never seen nothing like this before. Exactly. Because it's Malachi, who are huge, 200 feet tall. They going through the earth, and they doing many things. Because you disturbing people who are in peace, quiet, and tranquility with the mind with Yahuwah. And you messing everything up. So Yahuwah say, being that y'all messing with them, I'm going to mess with you. And I'm going to put it in your mind. I'm going to make you fight each other. And then I'm going to get my name, I'm going to shake the whole earth. I'm going to shake all Yasharal. And you know what else I'm going to do? Then I'm going to make my name great. Make myself known, right? Then they will know that I am Yahuwah. That's how they're going to know. And that's how you going to know. When you start plotting and scheming against somebody, and then you say, oh, ain't nothing going to happen to me, or I'm not going to come at somebody in peace and shalom, then you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're in trouble, right? This is the book of Book of Psalms, Qahalath 35. Book of Psalms, chapter 35 and verse 12. Psalm chapter 35, verse 12. They repay me evil for good, rod for good. My soul is bereft. He said, man, look at that. They return me evil for good. I did all this good and they return me evil. But he said, but I, when they were sick, I wore sackcloth. He said, I had care for them. I had gentleness. I watched their steps and I supported them. You know what? I afflicted myself with fasting. I prayed with my head bowed on my chest. He said, I was praying for people who didn't care nothing about me, who hated my everlasting guts, who don't care nothing about my life. You know what he said? I went about as though I grieved for my friend or my brother. He said, I was just like one who grieved for my friend and my brother and sister. As one who laments for his mother, I bow down in mourning, just like somebody who dies. When something happens in your life and you lose somebody very dear to you. He said, I did that when you were sick and you were still alive, as if you were already dead. But you returned me evil for good. And you know what he said? But at my stumbling, but when it came time for my turn, after if you do all that for somebody, and then they should return you evil for good, but then when you do something wrong, you know what they do? But at my stumbling, they rejoiced and gathered. They all got together, like Gog and Magog. You know what they do? And they gathered together against me. And they got together just like Gog and Magog against me. And you know what they say they did? Wretches whom I did not know, tore at me without ceasing. Then other people you don't even know. Say, I don't even know your name. I don't even know who you are. I don't even know your name, and you mocking me. And you saying things about me. You get what he said? Like profane mockers at a feast, just like people who drunk at a feast day. At a feast day, at Pesach, drunk. Chag Shabuah, drunk. Turah, drunk. Bakurim, drunk. Bakur, drunk. First fruit, drunk. Turah, drunk. Kafar, drunk. So Chag Sukkah, drunk. He said, man, he said, he's just like people mockers at a feast. They gnash at me with their teeth. How long, O Yahuwah, will you look on? Yahuwah like, how long? He's like, man, how long? And that's what you read in Ezekiel. Yahuwah like, this is how I'm going to make my name great among you, though. I'm going to let these people do it, because I put it in their heart to do it. Return you evil for good, and then when you stumble, I made them do all of that. You know what's going to happen? How long, O Yahuwah, will you look on? Rescue me from their destruction, my precious life from the lions, from Satan. Because Satan walks around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour, male and female. You know what? I will thank you in the great congregation, in the mighty throng I will praise you. Let not those who rejoice over me, who are wrongfully my foes, let those who wink the eye, who hate me without a cause. Why? Because when the great congregation comes, you know, the big one, I ain't talking about the one that you see today. I'm talking about the one that's going to be in Jerusalem. You know, when the great one comes, because you know who's going to be great. How the great congregation get together? How are you? We just read in the book of Psalms. How you going to be great? They're going to be supporting each other. They're going to be gentle, and they're going to be watching each other's steps. They're going to be hand in hand. Their yacht and their car going to be clean. That's the great congregation. They're going to be Anu, humble people. Meek, Anu, a Shafal, Anua, Anah. That's the great congregation. He said, when that great congregation comes. Then what he said, let not those who rejoice over me, who wrongly my foes, and let not those who wink the eye, who hate me without a cause. He said, you hate me without a cause. Don't even wink the eye. He said, you ain't going to be winking no eye then. You know how people do? Like they on your side, but in actuality, they were just the same people that were doing the same thing. Verse 20 says, for they do not speak peace. He said, they don't speak shalom, but those who are quiet, but against those who are quiet in the land. You just like Gog and Magog. You just like Gog and Magog. But those who are quiet in the land, you just like Gog and Magog. They devise words of deceit. You just like Gog and Magog. Right? You just like these people who get immersed in the Gog and Magog. There's people on earth who get immersed in the Gog and Magog. You just like them. And guess what it says? They open wide their mouths against me, saying, aha, aha. Our eyes have seen it. We seen what you did. Aha, aha. And there was, and people saying, why do you say, I liken these children to children in the marketplace. You know how children be, aha, aha, aha. He said, I piped unto you. I played the instrument. You ain't danced. I cried. Then we just read here. He said, I cried for you like a man mourning for his brother and sister, like a man mourning for his mother. He said, I cried on you, and you ain't even cried. You ain't got no tears. He said, but wisdom is justified in her children. Hakma. You know, the wisdom that created the earth before the earth even was. He said, any man or woman lacks wisdom, let him ask Yahuwah. He'll give it to abundantly from whomever he will. But don't be double-minded when you do it. Verse 22, you have seen, O Yahuwah, be not silent. So Yahuwah see you. Just like he saw Gog and Magog. He said, all right, isn't that what we talked about you already? O Yahuwah, be not far from me. Awake and rouse yourself for my vindication. But you know what's going to happen when Yahuwah going to vindicate you? It's going to be an earthquake. You're going to shake the whole inhabitants of the earth. And then you're going to make all the brothers fight each other. And everybody going to turn their sword against each other. And then he said, I'm going to make myself known to the people. That's how he going to do. He'll shake the earth. He'll be like, yep, they're going to Malachi. So what you want to do now again? 200 feet tall. What you want to do again? He shook it. I know you felt it. So what you want to do again? What you got? Yahuwah said, I got my sword, you got yours. Where your sword at? And it says, for my cause, my Elohim, my master, vindicate, O Yahuwah, my Elohim, according to your righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me. Yahuwah did all that just to show you that. He did all these events just to show you that. That's the only reason he did it. I want to show you how I work. And once you believe how he works, then you have nothing to fear. You have nothing to fear. What are you scared for? He said, man, here we go. Let them not say in their hearts, aha, our heart's desire. Because you know people's heart's desire. Their true heart's desire is to see you gone. Let them not say, we have swallowed him up. Just like them lean cows on the other side with the fat cows. Because there was a famine in the land. It was a famine in the land. Not of bread and water and all the food. It was of hearing the debar. That's the only reason you go across the river and swallow up the fat cows and bite and devour each other. That's the only reason you do it. Because there's a famine in the land. Not of food, natural food that perish, but of hearing the debar of Yahuwah. That's the only reason a wife would destroy a husband, or a man would destroy his wife, or nashim, or wives, or family. That's the only reason people will go out here and slander and gossip and lie on people and scheme and plot, because there's a famine in the land. You know what happens when people are hungry? They turn into, like, what they call World War Z. They turn into Dawn of the Dead. You'd be like, I see dead people. Just like it causes y'all with dead bones. I see dead people. Like Sixth Sense. Right? And then people say, what is that? Let them say they will swallow up. Let them be put to shame and disappointed all together. He said, so that means everybody together. Let them all be put to shame all together. Let them fight each other. Let brothers sword be against each other. Let all these things happen to them. He says, who rejoice at my calamity. Ha ha, look at your calamity. Look at the storms and earthquake. Ha ha. You almost losing everything. Boy, look at that. You know what's getting ready to happen to you? But you gotta wait for them people to come now. Ha ha ha. Look how much debt you got. Look at your life. Ha ha. Your life is cursed. You're nothing. He said they talk who rejoice at my calamity. Let them be clothed clothed with shame and dishonor, who magnify themselves against me. So who do you think you magnifying yourself against when you do that? Verse 27, let those who delight themselves in righteousness shout for joy and be glad and say forevermore, great is Yahuwah. How are Yahuwah going to be great? Gentleness. Wait, we just read how Yahuwah is so gentle. He humbled me. He was humble. He humbled me. And then his gentleness made me great. As a matter of fact, he watched my steps and he supported me. Great is Yahuwah who delights in the welfare of his servants. Like, all this is important, right? So this is the book of Matthew. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 27. Matthew chapter 26, verse 62. Matthew 26, 62. And the high Qahalath stood and said, have you no answer to make? He said, man, they advise evil against them who are quiet in the land, who are at peace. What is it that these men testify against you? So who do you think you're doing it to when you do it to somebody else? Our eyes have seen it. But Yahushua remains silent. They devise evil of those who are quiet in the land. They plot and scheme. They just like Gog and Magog. And you just like Gog and Magog when you do it to each other. We do it to each other in the household. We do it to each other in the streets, in the community, in your life, to your family. He said, you just like Gog and Magog. You come to disturb people, shalom, and quietness. But Yahushua said, I remain silent in the midst of it. And the high Qahalath said to him, I adjure you by the living Elohim, great be Yahuwah. Didn't we just read that? Tell us if you are the Mashiach, the son of Elohim. Yahushua said to him, you have said so. But I tell you, from now on, you will see the son of Adam seated at the right hand of power, coming in the clouds of Shamayim. You know how Gog and Magog, he said, then he told Gog and Magog, you're going to be just like a cloud and overshadowing over Yahushua, over Yasharal. But Yahushua said, you know what? Being that y'all did this to me, y'all coming at me like a cloud, and you devising evil and mischief, I'm going to come to you like a cloud. I'm going to come to you just like the cloud. As a matter of fact, you're going to see mine, you're going to say like, man, this ain't nothing like the other cloud. And you know what happens? You know, ever seen a hurricane that swallow up another one? You ever seen a storm get swallowed up by another storm? They got Doppler radar, you know, they be going to the spirit world to make that, right? You ever seen a hurricane swallow up another hurricane? That's what Yahuwah said. Yahuwah said, you're going to see my hurricane come and swallow up this hurricane that y'all just did against me, this storm that y'all did. And when my storm come, it's going to swallow yours up. Matter of fact, it's going to have a big eye wall. Matter of fact, it's going to be shalom right in the midst of it too. Peace in the middle of the storm. 360 degrees right there in the middle. 364 right there in the middle. And you're going to be able to walk in peace while there's a storm 364 degrees around you. You're going to be right there in the midst. Then the high priest tore his robes and said, so when you start talking like that, people don't like that. You know, he said, the leader's going to say to you, what? Have you come to take the spoil? To take our goods? To take our things? Gog and Magog? Then the high Qahalath tore his robe and said, he has uttered blasphemy. So what do you think he's coming to do? He's coming to take his life. What further witness do we need? You know what happens? You have now heard his blasphemy. What is your judgment? So you know how it is in court. When you start talking like this is what's going to happen to you. They answered, he deserves death. A man who's quiet in shalom deserves death? He's quiet. Then they spit in his face and struck him. And some slapped him saying, Nabu you Mashiach, who it is that struck you, right? So all that All that's a part of it. But guess what? It's a part of you. When people do it to you, that's what they're doing it to. They don't know it, but Yahuwah put it in their mind to do it. And there's nothing they can do about it. Even if they wanted to, say that they didn't want to do that, just like Gog and Magog, he said, I put it in their mind that his name may be great among them, right? Isn't that what he said? This is Ukinan chapter 12, verse 1. Ukinan chapter 12. Look at Ukinan chapter 12 and verse 7. John chapter 12, verse 7. Yahusha said, leave her alone, so that she may keep it for the day of my burial. For the poor you have always with you, but you do not always have me. Right? And guess what? Verse 9. When the large crowd of the Yahudim learned that Yahusha was there, they came not only on the account of him, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. You know what he said? So the chief priests made plans. He did what? The people, it's just like Gog and Magog. They made plans to put Lazarus to death as well. They want to kill you too. Yahusha healed you? Yahusha rose you from the grave? Did Yahusha heal your heart? Did he make you bring you in quiet and shalom and demand and peace and love and tranquility? So guess what? They're coming to take away your peace too. They don't want you to have that. Because on the account of him, many of the Yahudim were going away and believing in Yahusha. That's why. When you actually are really believing on Yahusha Mashiach and Yahuwah and keep his commandment, you know what they're going to do? They see you got the same thing. You were raised from the dead. All that immersion to Yahusha have put him on. All that immersion to Yahushua will put on his death, that he may resurrect the newness of life. You have now put him on. So you know what people looking at you? They see you in peace and tranquility and denam and quietness. You supporting each other, your gentleness, and you watching each other's steps. So what do you think they want to do to you? What do you think the chief priests and the leaders want to do to you? What do you think they want to do? So the chief priests have made plans to put Lazarus to death as well. They want to kill you too. Male and female. It's a card knuckle bar. They want to take you out too. So please don't be thinking, oh yeah, they want to. Y'all don't care about me. You don't know who I am. Yes, they do. Yasharal and Yehuda always know who you are, right? They know who you are. They knows you. Matter of fact, not only do them, but he said all the other people, the kings and the rulers, Gog and Magog themselves. Because on account of him, many of the Yahudim were going away and believing in Yahushua. Man, they ain't believing us no more. The HaKahan, they ain't believing in the HaKahan no more. In the Kahan no more. They ain't believing in them no more. They believing on Yahushua. So what do you think they're going to do? The next day, a large crowd had come to the feast and heard that Yahushua was coming to Jerusalem, right? So going over to verse 27. Now is my soul troubled. And what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour? For this purpose I have come to this hour. Father, Kabod, your name. How do you think he's going to get his name Kabod? He's saying, after I do all this, when brothers fighting against brothers, and they turn each other's sword against each other, and y'all come against the quiet and peaceful people whose land was waste, but now it's in quiet. He said, after you finish that, then I'm going to make myself known to you. He said, glorify your name. And the voice came from Shamaim, I have glorified Kabod and will do it again. The crowd stood, didn't he do it before? He going to do it again. The crowd that stood there and heard it said that it thundered. Others said, and Malach had spoken to him. Yahushua answered, this voice came for your sake, not mine. Get what it said. Now is the judgment of this world. Isn't that what you just read in Yakaziah? He said, I'm going to shake the whole land of Yasharal. Matter of fact, all the inhabitants of the earth. They're going to feel it. When I judge. And he said, then I'm going to make myself known to them. And I'm going to shake this place. Shake the whole land of Yasharal. And get what he said. Now is the judgment of this world. Now will the ruler of this world be cast out. And I, when I am lifted up from the earth, I will draw all people to myself. He said, then I'm going to make myself great in among the nations. First, I got to draw all people to me, which means I got to be lifted up on the mountains. And wasn't that where they were? Yasharal on the mountains. And they were dwelling in quiet and shalom. Were they not on the mountains? Then Gog and Magog came to them. But he was only doing that to draw Gog and Magog, or people like them, to him. And guess what? That's all a part of it, right? This is Matthew chapter 27. Matthew 27. Matthew 27 and verse 32. And as they went out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. They compelled him to carry his cross, his totality. And when they heard, got to the place called Golgotha, a place of skull, they offered him wine to drink, mixed with gall, and they would not. And when he tasted it, he would not drink it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his garments among them by casting lots. Then they sat down and kept watch over him there. And over his head he put a charge against him, which read, "This is Yahusha, the Malach of the Yahudim." Then two robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left. He said one on the right and one on the left. But let's see what happened. And those who passed by derided him, wagging their heads, saying, "You who will destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the son of Elohim, come down from the cross." Those are the people when they came to the mountain, when he was in quiet and shalom. They never came down from that mountain. They didn't do what Jared did. If you be the son of Elohim, come down from the cross and we'll believe in you. Come down to us down here with them beards. When he was on the mountain. Come down from the mountain and we'll believe in you then. We'll believe now. No, my fathers didn't act this way that y'all do down there. So I'm going to stay up here. Saying, "Who you who destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. You are the son of Elohim, come down from the cross." So also the chief priests with the scribes and the elders mocked him, saying, "He saved others, he cannot save himself. He is the Malach of Yasharal, let him come down from the cross. And we will believe in him. He trusts in Elohim, let Elohim deliver him now if he desires him, for he said, I am the son of Elohim." And the two robbers who crucified him reviled him in the same way. Now from the 6th hour of the darkness of the land until the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour, Yahusha cried out with a loud voice, "Aliyah, Aliyah, lama sabachthani, my Elohim, why hast thou forsaken me?" Did he make himself known yet? No. He didn't make himself known yet. He was just still talking. He started crying out. You know what? And some of the bystanders hearing it said, "This man is calling for Yahweh." And one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with sour wine and put a reed and gave him to drink. But the other said, "Wait, let's see whether Yahweh will come and save him." And Yahusha cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up the ruach. And behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two. He cried with a loud voice. And behold, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth shook. And the rock split. He said, I shook the whole land of Yasharal. Because you devise evil to those who are quiet in the land, on the mountains, high and lifted up, away from you. And I devised Gog and Magog to come against you. And being that they did that, I had swore, and every man's sword going to be against his own brother. And then you know what's going to happen after that? Then I'm going to reveal myself to the nations. I'm going to reveal myself to the nations. And I'm going to shake the whole land of Yasharal and all the earth. And it says the rock split and the tombs were opened. And many of the bystanders, the bodies of the Qadashim who are fallen asleep, were raised. And coming out of the tombs in the resurrection, the Qdash city, and appeared to many. You know what else he said? And when the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Yahusha, saw the earthquake, he revealed himself to the Goyim, the nations, all at the same time. Because you like Gog and Magog. He said, all you people like Gog and Magog, not even knowing. they saw the earthquake and what took place, they were filled with awe and said, truly, this was the son of Elohim. He said, great is Yahuwah. Who Elohim is there is Yahuwah. He said, I do all this just to get some people to believe in me through your quietness and your gentleness and your humble and meek and lowliness and your a new state. And you watching each other's steps and supporting each other. And when people come against you and when you stumble and they rejoice and doing all these things, guess what happens? My name will be great because of you. Because of you. Zakar Nakabah, because of you. And all of the Ramis, the Dagah, the fish of the sea, the fowls of the air, the behemoth, and everything that's in the land, they're going to know too. And you be just like my son. My quiet son, Adam. Who just keeping Shamar and Ibad in the garden. That'll be you. Right? All that's important, right? This is the book of First Enoch. You almost finished. This is First Enoch, First Hanuk, First Enoch, Pseudepigrapha, Volume 1, chapter 65 and verse 6. 65 and 6. An order has been issued from the court. You know how we get a court order? Of Yahuwah against those who dwell upon the earth. We just read in Yekazio. And it says, their doom has arrived because they have acquired the knowledge and the secrets of the Malachim. He said, you done acquired the secrets of the Malachim, not the secrets that Sha'ul said. I learned how to be full. I learned how to be hungry. I learned how to be abased. I learned how to be humble and brought low and exalted. I learned how to do all these things. I can do all things through him who strengthens me, not through a Malachim and their secrets. You get what it says? They learned the secrets of the Malachim, all the oppressive deeds of the Satans. He said, you learn how to oppress people with gold, silver, tin, and copper. You know how to slander the widows of fathers. You know how to destroy households. You take women from their pleasant houses and their children. You destroy everything that's around you. You cut babies out of their stomach. You kill children and throw them in the river, even drip yourself in blood. You devise plots and schemes, the adulterous woman against her husband, because she don't want to confess that she did it. So you devise plots and schemes against him. You love two masters. You swindle, you extortion, your accounting books are off. Right? You got 501c3s, but you taking a salary. You for profit. Right? You swindling the poor and the needy. Right? You learn the secrets of the Malachim. You learn how to use people as residual income. You learn how to take their money and use it and put yourself up, and you learn how to use them as residual income for your riches and make yourself more money. You learn the secret codes of you learn the secret codes of the taxations, right? You learn all these things. You learn how to do astrology. You learn how to map out the stars, the cosmos. You learn how to move things. You know how to do all these feats and go beyond the realm of the Malachim without peace. Right? But it says, you have acquired knowledge of all the secrets of the Malachim, all the oppressive deeds of the Satans, as well as all their most occult powers. You learn how to he said, you learn all the sorcery, all the magic, all the wizardry. You learn how to conjure up things. You learn how to necromance, go to other worlds. You know how to remote view and see into the future. You got precognition, artificial intelligence, the entity. Right? You done created so many things through Malachi, information, and knowledge. You know what he says? Occult powers and all the powers of those who practice sorcery, and all the powers of those who mix many colors. Right? He said, you mix all these colors up. What are they mixing colors up? All the powers of those who make molten images. That's what they're mixing the colors up for. You know how you mix the colors up? Right? And you start doing all that. But it says, How silver is produced from the dust of the earth, you figured that out too. And you know what you use it for? For your commerce system. You oppress people with it. You know what they did? It says, and bronze, and how bronze is made upon the earth, and lead and tin produced from the earth like silver. Their source is a fountain inside which stands a malak, and he is a running malak. After that, my grandfather Hanuk took hold of me by my hand and raised me up and said to me, Go, for I have asked Yahuwah the spirits regarding this turbulence, which is taking place on the earth. He continued to say to me, because their oppression has been carried out on the earth, their judgment will be limitless before me. He said their judgment is limitless. Why? Because these things taking place. He said, what type of limitless thing? He said it's like limitless, right? Endless, right? Here we go. That's what he said. Right, this is the book of Yeshayahu. Excellent. Yeah, this is the book of... Yeah, it's the book of Yeshayahu. Look at Isaiah. Yeah, book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah, Yeshayahu chapter 5 and verse 13. Yeshayahu chapter 5 verse 13. That's it, Yeshayahu chapter 5:11. He says, woe to those who rise early in the morning, that they may run after strong drink. He said, you drinking strong drink in the morning? You have morning sacrifice. Why would you go to Yahuwah with a morning sacrifice drunk? It's like a man getting on a plane, getting ready to drive a plane drunk early in the morning, and getting ready to take you to flight. You get on the plane, you getting ready to get on the plane with him. Why would you do that? And it says, who tarry late into the evening as wine inflames them. They have the lyre and the harp and tambourine and flute and wine at their feast. But they, you know how it is, people be going out, getting drunk. They parties and then they get on, and then get on there to start serving you in the morning time. And guess what? But they do not regard the deeds of Yahuwah. They ain't thinking about Yahuwah doing that. You at the club. He said you at the bar. They out there doing things, and you know what? They say they ain't regarding the deeds of Yahuwah. They ain't think about the morning sacrifice. Or see the works of his hands. You ain't up in the morning time. You don't even see the Shemesh come up in the morning. You don't even see the horizon, the sunrise. You're not even up. You all messed up. You know how people be in there, they be in there at 6 o'clock in the morning, right? And then they get out. They don't come out till the sun up, right? They forgot the deeds of Yahuwah. They doing all types of things. They don't even regard Yahuwah and what he did with his hands. He says, or see the works of his hands. Therefore, my people go into exile for lack of knowledge. Just because you doing that. You say, why we going to? We had clubs and banquets and clubs back in the day too. This ain't nothing new. People been clubbing. People been jumping to parties and orgy parties and things of that sort. People been doing this stuff way back thousands of years ago. This ain't nothing new. They just changed the names of it. They just put a different name on it. Right? That's all they did. Just made a building and put a different name on it, and then said, oh, this is what it is. Right? Same thing. Therefore, my people go into exile for lack of knowledge. Their honored men go hungry. He said, your old men go hungry because you ain't out in the field putting no seed in the ground. You ain't harvesting and planting no more. So therefore, the ancient men, they what? Go hungry. And you know what's going to happen when people go hungry? You're going to start biting and devouring each other, and you be consumed one of another. That's why Yahuwah said, you have robbed me in all tithes and offerings. What do you mean? He said, bring the food in the storehouse. There may be food in my house. Why? Because if you don't, people are going to start biting and devouring each other. Just like you see the lean cows with the fat cows. And get what? Their honored men go hungry, and their multitude is parched for thirst. Ain't nobody going to the water. Ain't nobody got cisterns anymore. Nobody got the wells anymore. He said they all parched with water. They all hunger and thirst. Why? Because you ain't giving them the food that don't perish. Because Yahushua said, if you don't eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life in you. But he also said, if you eat my flesh, you will never hunger again. You drink my blood, you will never thirst again either. Therefore, Sheol has enlarged its appetite. There we go. He said, man, their judgment is limitless. You just read it, and opened his mouth beyond measure, man. Their judgment is limitless. And the nobility of Jerusalem and her multitude will go down, her revelers and who exults in her. He said, your judgment is endless. It is beyond measure. Man is humbled and each one is brought low. Now you see why Shaul said that. Now you see why he said that. He said, you really don't understand this. And the eyes of the haughty are brought low. Now you see why Shaul said this. The only reason he's saying, my eyes are brought low. I learned how to be low and be abased and be low and humble me. I learned how to be hungry and full. We just read the what? The honored men are hungry. I learned how to be hungry and I learned how to be full. I can do all things. I can get through everything through Yahuwah who strengthens me. Yahuwah is still my strength. But still, I had to go through it all. Man is humbled and each one is brought low. The eyes of the haughty are brought low. But Yahuwah of hosts is exalted in justice. Now you see why. He said, I besought Yahuwah 3 times for this thing. Man, this is a thorn in my flesh. He's saying, Yahuwah's judgment, he's exalted in judgment. My strength is made perfect in weakness. And the Chdash one shows himself, Chdash, in righteousness. That's why. Get you. You know what happens after all that happens? After Yahuwah say, Sheol has enlarged beyond measure. Like he get rid of everybody. You know what's going to happen after that? Then the lambs graze as in their pasture. And he said, then the lambs going to start grazing. Because once I get rid of all these people who won't regard the works of Yahuwah, who get drunk in the evening and wine in the morning, partying, doing all these things, allowing people to go hungry, all these things. Then he said, then the lamb will graze at their pasture, and the nomads shall eat among the ruins of the rich. He said, the wastelands of the rich. You know where they were at? Then we just read in the book of Yekaziel, he said they're going to dwell quietly in the mountains of the wasteland that was wasted, but then Yasharal came and dwelled in the mountains, right? He said, all the hills going to shake and everything going to be going down. He said, what? Verse 13 said, woe to those who draw iniquity with cords of falsehood, who draw sin at the cart ropes, who say, let him be quick, let him speed his work, that we may see it. Let the counsel of the Chdash one of Yasharal draw near, and let it come that we may know it. Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put sweet for bitter and bitter for sweet, who go from the unseen world, bring evil spirits into your life, and then you say it's good when you get here. And it manifests in your life. Woe to you when you turn evil for good. Because evil ain't going to depart out of you. Woe to you. Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes. Everybody wise, right? Everybody wise today. And you can't tell nobody they ain't wise. All this wisdom and knowledge out here now. He said, you wise in your own. You know how you know you're wise in their own eyes? Because you say you don't regard the works of Yahuwah. So Yahuwah say, you just wise in your own eyes. He said, you know why he said that? To the only wise out here. He said, you just wise in your own eyes. You don't regard the works of Yahuwah. Woe to those who are heroes. And you know what it says? Woe to those who are wise in their own eyes and shrewd in their own sight. Woe to those who are heroes or gods at drinking of wine, and valiant men in mixing strong drink, who acquit the guilty for a bribe and deprive the innocent of their right. All right, going back to 1 Enoch 65, we're almost finished. We're almost done. And it says, verse 8, 65, 1 Enoch 65 and 8. For lead and tin are produced from the earth like silver. Their source is like fountain inside which stands a Malak. And he is a running Malak. After that, my grandfather, Hanuk, took hold of me by my hand and raised me up and said to me, Go, for I have asked Yahuwah of the spirits regarding this turbulence, which is taking place on the earth. He continued to say, because their oppression has been carried out on the earth, their judgment will be limitless before me. On account of this abstract things which they have investigated and experienced, the earth shall perish together with those who dwell upon her. And those who taught them these things will have no haven forever. So he said, what you teach? He said, what you teach? Because they have revealed to them the things which are secret to the condemned ones. Say what? That's why he said, what you supposed to be? You ain't supposed to be revealing everything to everybody, especially when they condemn. They don't need to know all this stuff. He said, why don't you get a rest? No. He said, no. It's these condemned ones, right? You know why? But as for you, my son, Yahuwah the Yahuwah of the spirits knows that you are pure and what? Kind-hearted. Remember he said to those who are pure, Yahuwah show himself pure? He said, you kind, you concede, you gentle, you meek, you lowly, you are kind-hearted. Matter of fact, you cover each other's steps. Matter of fact, you support each other. Not everybody don't do that though. He said, you kind-hearted. You know what he says? You detest the secret things. You detest the secret things. He has preserved your name for the Chdash ones. He will protect you from those who dwell upon the earth. He has preserved you, your righteous seed, for kingship and great kabod. For your seed will emerge a fountain of the righteous and the Chdash ones without number forever. He's like, because you kind-hearted and gentle. Because you tender-hearted and you pure. As a matter of fact, he said, you preserved. You are preserved seed of righteousness, male and female, if you this way. That's what you are. That's what you are, right? Right, so this is the Codex Sinaiticus. Codex Sinaiticus. Codex Sinaiticus. Codex Sinaiticus. This is the Epistle of Barnabas, chapter 19. The Epistle of Barnabas, chapter 19, and verse 1. Epistle of Barnabas, chapter 19, verse 1. Now the path of life is this. If anyone wishes to travel to the appointed place, let him hasten by means of his works. Because a moon without works is dead. Like we talk about even washing people's feet. That's 4 fruits. Matter of fact, you go through all the Torah. And you see he said gentleness, meekness. You see people covering their steps. You see people being gracious, people fasting and praying like your own brother and sister and mother died. And then people returning you evil for good. He's saying, continue in the way you're going. Continue to be kind-hearted. Right? And it says, trust Yahuwah. It says, now the knowledge of walking in it that is given unto us is of this kind. You shall love him that made you. When we talked about the parents, he said we think they're the authors of our life, but they're not. Who really made you? You shall fear him that formed you. Who formed you? If any man be born again, he cannot see the Malkut of Shamayim. All that immersed in you, who shall immerse in his death and resurrect in the newness of life. Who formed you? You shall glorify him that redeemed you from death. Oh, he deserved death. They want to kill Lazarus too. They want to put him to death too. But hear what it says. You shall be simple in heart and rich in ruach. You shall not cleave unto those who go to the path of death, for the wages of sin is death. You shall hate whatever is not pleasing unto Elohim. What did he just say? He said, my grandfather grabbed me by the hand and told me, because you kind-hearted and pure, and you detest all the things that the fallen Shemjaza, Osbal, Penuel, and Amaros teach, you are preserved as a righteous seed. Because you got to hate the things Yahuwah hate. You shall hate all hypocrisy. You shall not abandon the commandments of Yahuwah. You shall not exalt yourself. You shall be humble in all things. Either you be humble in all things, or you will be joined together with Gog and Magog, and all the other people are like Gog and Magog. And you will be like the people who rejoice and return evil for good. You shall not take glory unto yourself. You shall not take evil counsel against your neighbor. You shall not take audacity into your ruach. You shall not commit fornication. You shall not commit adultery. You should not pollute yourself with mankind. That's men with men, women with women. You know what it says? Let not the Elohim go forth from you in corruption. Let not the word of Elohim go forth from you in corruption. With these things, these behaviors in your heart, in your mind, in your life, don't you dare speak the words of Elohim until they die within you. And then it says, you shall not accept the persons of any to reprove any man for transgression. You shall be gentle. You shall be quiet. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? You know what it says? You shall tremble at the words that you have heard. You shall tremble. And you shall not bear malice against your brother or sister. Because you know, he who don't have malice against anybody is joyful. But that was a commandment, to have malice toward no one. You shall not doubt whether a thing shall be or not. You shouldn't even have doubt in your mind whether it's going to come to pass or not. You shouldn't even have doubt. You'd be like, that ain't going to happen. He can't heal me. Yahuwah can't heal all my diseases. Yahuwah can't restore, and he said, remove all debt from my life. You shall not doubt whether a thing shall be or not. You shall not take the name of Yahuwah in vain. You might as well just slap him in the face and punch him. He said, man, you don't even believe me. You shall love your neighbor beyond your own ruach. You shall not kill a child by abortion. Neither shall you destroy it after it is born. You know how you can destroy a child after it's born? By not telling them, by speaking smooth things, prophesying deceit, by not warning them, by not telling them what they should do. You know what happens after that? You got blood on your hands. And guess what it says? You shall not remove your hand from your son or your daughter, but shall teach them forth their youth to fear Yahuwah. Right? That's why you think Satan take your children. That's the only reason he take them. He jump inside people and he take them. You know why he do that? It's not rocket science. It's a war. This is like somebody who kidnapped something. Right? It's a war. Get what it says. And then some things you have to stay. He says, and some things People have no idea. You shall not covet your neighbor. It says, you shall not covet your neighbor's good. I see, yeah. You shall not remove your hand from your son or daughter, but you shall teach them from their youth to fear Yahuwah. Why? You withhold not correction from a child. You shall not covet your neighbor's goods. You should not be an extortioner. That's a swindler. That's what people do today. You shall not cleave with your ruach unto the proud. That's what people do today. The haughty. But you shall have your behavior with the lowly and the just, because the just gonna live by his amun. The lowly Ayinu gonna inherit the odds. Why would you inherit? Why would you be around people who ain't doing this? Receive a blessing. It says, receive as blessings the troubles that come unto you, knowing that without Elohim nothing is done. He said, receive the Barak. Yahuwah gave it to you. Or he gave it to us. So he said, receive it as a Barak. You shall not be double-minded or double-tongued, for a double tongue is a snare unto death. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. You shall submit yourself to your masters as the image of Elohim with shame and fear. Bow to your king, for he is your master. You know what he says? Your malak. You shall not give commandments. You shall not give commands with bitterness to your servant and your handmaiden, who hope in the same Elohim as you do, lest perchance you cease to fear Elohim, who is over you both, over both of you. For he came not to call men with respect of persons, but to call those whom the Ruach had prepared. You shall communicate in all things with your neighbor, and shall not say that things are thine own. Because if you do that, what happens to you? You know what happens if you do that? For if you be partners if you be partners in that which is incorruptible, how much more in the things that are corruptible? You shall not be hasty of speech. For the mouth is a snare unto death. As far as you are able, you shall be pure concerning your ruach. Now you just read in First Enoch why he said that. But the only way to be pure in your ruach, you can't do none of these things. You have to be pure in yourself. Never return evil for good. Evil for good, that's all those things come from returning evil for good. But it says, be not a stretcher forth of your hand in receiving, and a drawer back of it in giving. You know, he said, when the battle gets hot, draw back. You ain't gonna get nobody no help. You ain't gonna guard the steps. You're gonna be like, you're gonna listen to Dawid, you're gonna listen to the king, you're gonna listen to your leader when he tell you to draw back and not help that person. You know, people just listen. You're gonna listen to Saul when he tell you go lie. Be not a stretcher forth of your hand in receiving, and a drawback of it in giving. You shall love as the apple of thine eye. Every one that speaks unto you the word of Yahuwah. You shall remember the day of judgment by night and by day. And you shall seek out every day the person of the Qadashim. You shall not doubt to give, nor shall you murmur in giving. Give to everyone who asks you, and you shall know who is the good recompenser of the reward. You shall take care of that which you have received. Huh? He said, how many people are doing that? How are we? He said, are we doing that? He said, are you doing that? Are we doing that? Is each individual doing that? He said, you got to do that. You know why? You shall make, it says right here, you shall take care of that which you have received, neither adding thereto, nor taking therefrom. Ye shall hate the evil man and woman unto the end, and shall judge justly. You know, he said hate their behavior. As long as they got it, you got to hate their behavior and you got to judge justly. Because if you don't, you know what happens? You got blood on your hands. That's mother, father, brother, sister, Nashim, Ish, Isha, right? Ye shall not make a schism, but shall make peace by bringing adversaries together. That how many say YouTube, Instagram, right? That stuff makes so many schisms. You have no idea. You know, it says bring adversaries together, right? He said, how you gonna bring your adversaries together? You shall make confession of your sins. That's how you gonna do it. Matter of fact, you shall not go unto prayer with an evil conscience. That's why you need to confess your sins. People say, I'm going to go pray to you and ask you for something. He said, hold up. You got to confess your sins first. But you got to go through a whole 2 hours just to even ask. You be like, man, I done did all this stuff in my life. Can I? And after you, at the end, you be like, okay. You know what it says? This is the way of life, either laboring by means of the word and proceeding to exhort, and practice to save the Ruach by the bar, or you shall work by your hands for the redemption of your sins, right? But that's the whole point. But the last thing, this Barnabas chapter 20 and verse 1, same book. But the path of darkness is crooked and full of cursing, for it is the path of eternal death and punishment, in which way are the things that destroy the Ruach: idolatry, boldness, pride of power, hypocrisy, double-heartedness, adultery, murder, rape, haughtiness, transgression, deceit, malice, self-will, witchcraft, sorcery, covetousness, want of the fear of Elohim. Isn't that the same thing we just read in First Enoch? Same thing. Same thing we read in the book of Yeshayahu. They experts in strong and drinking wine in the morning. They ain't even regard the works of Elohim. You know what he says? Here are those who are persecutors of the good. Now you see why they just like Gog and Magog. They devise evil against those who are quiet on the mountains, those who are at peace, in shalom and tranquility. Those are the people who are going to use and make his name great, while you dwell in tranquility and peace. He said what? Here are those who are persecutors of the good, haters of the truth, lovers of lies, those who know not the reward of righteousness, who cleave not unto what is good, nor unto just judgment, who attend not to the widow and the orphan, the women who have the male figures, who are awake not unto the fear of Elohim, but unto evil, from whom meekness, Anu, and patience are far off. Anu, Shafal, Anua. He said they are far off, right? You know, that's what happens, how far you from it. He said, he said, loving your neighbor and keeping the commandments and doing all these things, it's better than a whole burnt offerings and sacrifices. And then when he told Yahushua said, you're not far from the kingdom. Loving one's neighbor as one's own self, right? And you know how they say. But he says right here, but unto evil, from whom meekness and patience are far off, who love the things that are vain, who follow after recompense, who pity not the poor, who labor not for him who is in trouble. When you were sick, I fasted like one fasting for his brother, sister died. Who are prompt of evil speaking, who know not him that made them, murderers of children, corrupters of the image of Elohim, who turn away the poor man and woman and oppress the afflicted, advocates of the rich, unjust judges of the poor, sinners in all things. Right? So this is all important. Why? Can we look at ourselves? we look at everything that's happened, and you say, why, right? We almost finished, right? So you get there. Right, so this is the book of First Esdras. First Esdras, I think it's 14. I think it's 14. Let me get there. Actually, Second Esdras chapter 16. Second Esdras chapter 16. Second Esdras chapter 16, verse 48. I think 48. Second Esdras chapter 16 and verse 38. Second Esdras chapter 16. Second Esdras chapter 16 verse 38. Second Esdras chapter 16 verse 38. Yeah. Go there. It says, as when women, that's going up to verse 35. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of Yahuwah. Behold, the word of Yahuwah, receive it. He says, behold, the word of Yahuwah, receive it. Believe not the Elohim, the gods of whom Yahuwah spake. He said, don't believe what they say. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. As when a woman with child in 9 months bringing forth a son, her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child comes forth, they slack, not a moment. Even so, not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to thy battle. But how you going to win the battle? You got to be guarding each other's steps. You got to be gentle. You gotta be a certain way. You gotta be hand in hand. Matter of fact, you gotta have your yard and your calf clean. Because you gotta be that way. He said, prepare for the battle. How you gonna win your battles? He says, oh my people, hear my word. Make you ready to the battle, to thy battle. And then those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. He said, just like people passing through. He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupies merchandise as he that have no profit, buy it. And he that buildeth as if he shall not dwell therein. Isn't that what we just read? He said, if you go to your battle against your enemies, he said, do not be dismayed or fear them. Let not your heart faint. But if you are faint-hearted, go back. But Yahuwah said in the Dead Sea Scroll, I'm going to raise you back up. All those who are in these houses, who went back to the trough and went back to their houses and all these things that they had, I came to raise you up. And I came to reject the other ones. You know why he did that? That man may know Yahuwah. Oh my people, hear what it says. He that occupied merchandise as if he have no profit. And he that buildeth as if he will not dwell therein. And he that soweth as if he will not reap. So also he that planteth the vineyard as if he shall not gather grapes. They that marry as they shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widows. And wherefore they that labor in vain, for the strangers shall reap their fruits. Their spoils of their goods will overthrow their houses and take their children captive. In captivity and famine shall they beget children. Right? And they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, and the more they deck their cities and their houses, their possessions, their own persons, the more will I be angry with them for the sin, saith Yahuwah Elohim. like as a whore that envieth a right and honest and virtuous woman. You say, oh, no, whore don't envy no virtuous woman. I assure you, if you are righteous and pure, and you are a virtuous woman, I assure you, women envy you. That's the only reason they even talking to you and looking at you and giving you compliments and saying things about you because they envy you. Their words, they talk to you, but they got a sword in their right hand getting ready to jab you in the stomach when you ain't looking. And you'll be wallowing in your blood because you like people, you join the flattery. And guess what? When that flattery hits you, there's gonna be a sword in your gut. That's like world we live in. Verse 50 says, so shall righteousness hate iniquity. Now we just talked about in Sinaiticus. He said, you supposed to hate. He said, you hate evil behavior and you judge justly. He said, you already know it's flattery. You already know they ain't judging justly. You know you better watch out. So shall righteousness hate iniquity, when she decketh herself and shall accuse her to her face. Right, that judgment. That's when you judge to their face. Sword knife wrestle our word perfection to their face. Right? You gotta judge them to their face. Why you gotta judge your children to their face? Be like, so what you did? This is what the bar say. This is the judgment call, right? You gotta judge them to their face. But you gotta make sure you ain't got nothing in your eye first. That's why you gotta stay righteous and pure. That's why. That's why you gotta stay in a certain state. That's why you gotta work ever so hard to stay in a state of pureness and righteousness. So you can do these things and save other people. But it said right here, when she decketh herself, she shall accuse it to her face. And when he cometh that shall defend him, that diligently search out every sin upon the earth. And therefore, be ye not like unto, nor the works thereof. Right? So, right? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, 23. One's pride will bring him low. Now you see why Shaul said that. But he who is lowly in Ruach will obtain honor. Right? Now you see why. I learned how to be low. I learned how to be exalted. I learned how to grow. I learned how to do all these things. I do all things through him who strengthens me. But one's pride will bring him low. That's why you need to be brought low. You need to be humble. Why? So you can guard those other steps. You can be gentle. Again, gentleness. You can bite and devour each other. Right? That word for low is l'shafal. It means to be what? To be humble, low. Humble and humiliated, lowly, depressed, right? To be in a lowly state. Why? Because if you stay in that humble shafal state, then all these things that you see that we just talked about will always be on your heart and mind. Those things that will allow you to have a pure heart and to be kind-hearted. It'll stay with you, right? This is the book of Psalm 37, 7 through 11. Be still before Yahuwah and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself over the one who prospers in the way. Don't corral and get angry. Over the man who carries out evil devices. He said, man, don't even get angry at it. Refrain from anger and forsake wrath. Which means you gotta be what? Quiet. You gotta be quiet. That's why we even forsake wrath. You just gotta be quiet. Fret not yourself, it tends only to evil. Just be quiet. He said it tends only evil. He said it's like a woman knitting a shirt together. Eventually you're gonna put it on. And it says, verse 9, for the evildoers shall be cut off. He said, man, they're gonna be cut off. But those who wait for Yahuwah shall inherit the Aydahs. You say, you wait for him. Yahuwah put it in his heart for other people to do things to you. But you need to know he already said that. So when it does happen, just like Yahuwah said, I already told you things before. When it does happen, you just be like, Okay, I'm waiting, because eventually, you know what Yahuwah say. I'm gonna make their sword going against them. They're gonna be fighting each other. Then the earth gonna shake, and the earth gonna quit. I'm gonna shake the whole earth for your sake. Then after that, I'm gonna make myself known. Then my name gonna get great. So you just gotta wait for that. You gotta wait for all that to go by, and you be like, okay, I'm just waiting for that to happen. Eventually, I'm gonna get out of this. You just gotta keep doing what you're doing. Just verse 10 says, "In just a while, the wicked will be no more. Though you look carefully at his place, he will not be there." He said, "Man, I'm gonna come after you. Don't worry, it's gonna be wasteland." He said, "You'll be living on it eventually." That's where you're gonna be living at. He's like, they out there right now. They passing law. They can just go up there and just live up there. He's like, don't worry, they be coming down. You be going up there. You be the people living up there. Don't worry. And he says, but 11 says, "But the meek, the Aydah, shall inherit the Aydahs, and delight themselves in the abundance of shalom," in quietness. That's what he said. And what we've read in the Ezekiel 38. He said they were quiet in peace and shalom on the mountains. And then I'm going to send Gog and Magog against those who they dwell securely, right? We all secure, right? But then I'm going to send some things at you just to make my name great. Through you. Gog and Magog, people like them. Because I want you to know. I want to see what you all are made of, right? That word for be still is daman. It means to be silent, be still, be done, to make quiet. Because they're going to devise evil against you when you quiet. Don't worry. You know how people say, "I'm the life." You know how you've been to a party and you see somebody, they just be loud, be drunk, be loud, and you just be all quiet. And they come, "Hey, man, what's going on? Hey." And they be trying to get you to do stuff. You ever did that? You ever been in places like that? Right, the real talkative people who feel like they know so many things. He's like, yeah, you know. You ain't got to be like that. It says to make silent. He said, "Be still and wait for Yahuwah. Wait patiently for him." He said the meek. The word for meek is Aydah. It's spelled with an ayin. It means to see, experience. You got to see it. And you got to experience it. And it's a watch. How you going to watch when you're talking? You can't watch when you're talking. You got to be quiet. Aydah. And you got to see. You got to see life and be joined to it. Because that's how you're going to preserve your own life. By being Aydah. To be poor, humble, afflicted, needy, humble. Why? But once you get in this state and you're in a quiet state, in a daman state, and you're waiting on Yahuwah, then you're able to observe things properly, and Yahuwah be talking. You can hear his still small voice. But you can't do that when you're talking. It says, "But the meek shall inherit the Aydahs and delight themselves in abundance of shalom." It means completeness, soundness. It says peace, quietly, tranquility, completeness. Right? Tranquility. Tranquility. That's what happens. This is Proverbs 16, 19 through 20. Mostly Proverbs 16, 19 through 20. "It is better to be of a shafal ruach." I need to see why Shaul said that. "With the Aydah, with the humble and meek, than to divide the spoil with the proud, and to be with the rich." You know, all those things we read in First Enoch. All the things they learned from the secrets of the Malachim. For oppression. Verse 20, "Whosoever gives thought to the debar will discover good." He said, don't ever speak to the debar with these corruption in your mouth, in your life. He said, but if you speak on the debar, you will always discover good. You always do good. You won't return evil for good. You return good for good. And therefore good will actually radiate. And Barak, he said, Barak is he who trusts in Yahuwah. He said, you trust in Yahuwah. Barak are you who trust in Yahuwah, right? Because that's all a part of it. Because when you start trusting Yahuwah and waiting patiently for him, then you know what happens, both male and female. Then you'll be able to rule the earth. Because you know who's going to rule, those who got the Ruach. We talked about it. Those who got the Ruach are going to rule. They're going to be over everything. He said, don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? Don't let nobody twist you into something, thinking something. Those who got the Ruach are going to rule. Right. This is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 4. The reward for humility, right? Proverbs 22, 4. the reward of humility, being humble, and fear of Yahuwah, because you regard the works of Yahuwah, you fear Yahuwah, is riches, honor, and life. The reward of those who for humility and fear of Yahuwah is riches, honor, and life. The word for humility is enua, not anah, because you know anah is for the other word, right? Anah, but this one got a woo in it. Anua, it has an iron. It starts with an iron. You got to see it. It means be joined to life, but it has a ha at the end, and it also means revealed, right? Light is revealed through the life. See it and be joined to it. Anua. They who do wicked things hate the light. That's why they don't like coming to he say iron see, and then you see ha at the end, that's feminine, and then you have life joined to it. Because what comes out of a woman when the child is born? What comes out of a woman, her stomach is full. A child is born into the world. A humble, meek, and lowly child who is poor and needy, who needs her help, who needs her to do everything for him. Because you're humble, meek, and lowly, and needy. That's why Yahushua said, if you don't humble yourself like a child, you can't enter into Malchut Shamayim. That's why people ain't humble, meek, and lowly. Aydah should fall and low and brought low. You ain't a child. You ain't like a little baby, like a child that Yahuwah can take care of. He said, you grown. Anua means humility, meekness. It says condescension and clemency. It also means modesty, humility, gentleness, meekness, gentleness, support, watching each other's steps. When your battles, hand in hand, yad and kaf clean, we win. He said, I don't like to win. He said, I went undefeated. He said, I want to go undefeated. He said, I want to go undefeated season. You know, I said, this season of time, he said, I want to go undefeated. Let not your heart faint. Right, that condescension is an attitude of patronizing superiority or disdain, right? That's what it means. Because, you know, the only reason they put that in there, because when you are in a humble and meek and lowly state, then you become superior. The word clemency means mercy and lenience. When you're in a humble and meek and lowly state, you have mercy and you have leniency. But that's all a part of it. That's all a part of it. This is Sirach chapter 3, 17 through 23. My son and daughter, go on thy business in meekness, Aydah. So shalt thou be beloved of him that is approved. The greater thou art, like he said, I learned how to be low and high. The greater thou art, the more humble thyself. The more quieter you become, the more Aydah you become, the more gentle you become, the more kind you become, the more pure you become, the more of a watch person you become. You watch everything. You guard each other. You guard steps. You don't even walk like everybody else. The more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before Yahuwah. Then you're going to, the reward of humility and those who walk in is riches, honor, and life. You're going to find favor before Yahuwah. Many are in high places and are renowned, they real up there. But mysteries are revealed unto the Aydah, the meek. Because we're going to inherit the Aydahs. For the power of Yahuwah is great and is honored with the lowly. Seek not all things that are too hard for thee, neither search for things that are above thy strength. He said, to who your strength? Because, you know, when you start to do things outside of he said above your strength. Because everybody got different strength levels. So you got different strength levels. And everybody can't take a lot of things. It's just like a male can lift weight and carry more weight than a woman can. Now that's the day. People taking all types of things, drinking all types of liquors now. So they make it on a level playing field. But without that stuff, but naturally, it's that way. But it says above thy strength. Right? Verse 22. But what is commanded thee, think thereupon with reverence. You always think on the bar, you always discover good. For it is not needful for thee to see with thine eyes the things that are in secret. You know what you read in 1 Enoch? He said, you reveal this stuff to the condemned ones. What are you doing? You know, they done revealed a whole bunch of stuff to the condemned ones now. Now you see, they done ran that thing. They doing all types. You're going to see some Simons running around here eventually. Flying and doing all types of stuff. Why are you doing all types of things out here? Why? Because you don't reveal the secrets to these people. Like you say, people done said a whole bunch of stuff. Be crystals and crystallized information and knowledge. They even held the crystal and pulled the spirit up out of it. Right? There's all types of stuff out here now. It's not new when you know the things that are in secret. Be not curious in unnecessary matters. Don't be curious in that stuff. Why? Because it's only going to lead you to a shadim. And we're going to lead you to a demon. Well, you're going to get about 1,000 of them things on your body. Right? You know you got to put on your body, all them things you got to throw on your body. You got to cover yourself. Right? You be painting everywhere. They say mixing colors. But it says, for more things are showed unto thee than men and women understand. Right? Because people don't know that. Right? This is the last thing. This is Nazarene after the Shalakim. Recognitions of Clement. Nazarene after the Shalakim. Recognitions of Clement. Recognitions of Clement. Conclusion of discourse. This is page 150. Chapter XXVI. XXXVI. Right? I think it's 36. And it says, conclusion of the discourse. And therefore, although the serpent lurking within you occupies your senses with 1,000 arts of corruption, he said he's lurking inside of you. You know what he says? And throws in your way 1,000 obstacles by which he may turn you away from hearing of the saving instructions. All the more ought you to resist him, because he inside. You ain't gonna win your battle. He said he's trying to stop you from this thing, from hearing the saving instructions. You should resist him, and despising his suggestions, to come together the more frequently to hear the word and receive instructions from us, because nobody can learn anything who is not taught. And when he had done speaking, he ordered those to be brought to him who are oppressed by sicknesses and demons, and he laid hands upon them with prayer. And so he dismissed the crowds, charging them to resort to the hearing of the bar during the days that he was to remain there. Therefore, when the crowds had departed, Kaffa washed his body in the waters that ran through the garden, with as many as others as chose to do so, and then ordered the couches to be spread on the ground under a very shady tree, and directed us to recline according to the order established by Caesarea. And thus, having taken food and giving thanks to Elohim, after the manner of the Abri, the Hebrews, as there was yet some portion of the day remaining, he ordered us to question him on any matters that we pleased. And although we were with him 20 in all, he explained to everyone he pleased ask him, and the particulars of which I set down in scrolls and sent to you some time ago. When evening came, we entered with him into the lodging and went to sleep, each one of us to his own place. Why? Because that's what people do. He said everybody went home. But he said Satan inside of you, he said he's trying to resist you from hearing the salvation, the words of salvation. And he said, being that he's trying to do that and trying to send you to eternal fire, to Sheol, which is enlarged without measure, he said that's why you need to resist him. Resist his suggestions. That's all he wants people to do. You gotta resist. Why? Because you see what they did after they heard of the bar. You know why? We know why they went home. Everybody went to sleep. Everybody was good. You know why? Right. This is the Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3. Masterly Proverbs chapter 3. Masterly Proverbs chapter 3. Masterly Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 23. I say going to verse 21. My son, do not lose. Actually going to verse 19. 3:19. Yahuwah by wisdom founded the Aydah, and by understanding he established the Shamayims. By this knowledge the deep broke open, and the clouds dropped down dew. My son, daughter, do not lose sight of these things. Of these, keep sound wisdom and discretion. That's sound wisdom and discretion. The dew, the clouds, right? The Shamayims in the earth, right? By wisdom. That's sound wisdom and discretion. Anytime people start doing something outside of that, you say, man, you done lost about seed planting, you done lost about animals and understanding creatures of the earth. You say, man, you outside, what are you talking about? Verse 22, and they will be life to your soul and adornment to your guggeroth, your neck, your throat. Then you will walk in your way securely. That's why nature is important. Looking at the Shamayims, the earth, the sand, the soil, the animals, and the creatures, it's important for you to know sound wisdom. And your foot will not stumble. You ain't gonna never stumble. You ain't gonna be like, you know why? Because your people are gonna be guarding your steps. You're going to be supporting, gentle, and they're going to be guarding your steps. You ain't never going to stand. You don't have nobody putting no rock in front of your feet because you're going to see it. If you lie down, you will not be afraid. You say you're going to be afraid of no shadim, no spirits, no poltergeist. I say all these different beings out here. It's all types of beings out here. You scared of Bigfoot. Bigfoot ain't nothing. Bigfoot stink. Right? And all these other beings out here. The Yeti. All these other beings they got. Bird being, reptile, reptilians, all these things, they ain't nothing. Astro projected hypocrites. Right? It says right here, then you will walk in your way securely, and your foot will not stumble. They can come in, they can do whatever they want. But Gog and Magog, you will say, I put it in your mind to do it, but eventually I'm gonna get you. Right? He gonna get you now. People think he gonna get you. Man, he'll send a Malachia in the other world. You be thinking you're invisible, and he just come and snap. He be like, somebody tap you on the shoulder. You be like, what in the world is happening? And you be going to the spirit world. If you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. And he said, it's sweet. Do not be afraid of sudden terror or the ruin of the wicked when it comes, because it's coming. Don't worry. Just like Gog and Magog, just like all these other beings out here. For Yahuwah will be your confidence. He's going to be what? He's going to be the strength of your life. And will keep your foot from being caught. He said, your foot, you ain't going to be nowhere near. He said, I'm going to keep your foot. It's time to go. Luke, it's time to go. Hey, my wife, it's time to go. Abraham, it's time to go. It's time to go. Mashah, it's time to get them out. Yahusha, it's time to go. Who shall you see? It's time for me to go. Watch that you gaze in the Shammai. It's time for you to go. Okay, Yahusha, it's time for you to go back. Time for me to go. He gonna let you get caught. Do not withhold good from those who it is due. Oh, there we go. It's due for them to have good. Do not withhold good from those whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it. That's what we need to focus on. He said that's what people need to focus on. That's what people need to focus on. Right? Do not say to your neighbor, go and come again. Tomorrow I will give it, when you have it with you. Do not plot evil against your neighbor who dwells trustingly beside you. He said, don't do it. Because then you'll be like Gog and Magog. Do not contend with a man for no reason, when he has done you no harm. Do not envy a man of violence. Do not choose any of his ways, right? All that's important, right? This is the book of Revelations. Book of Revelations. This is the book of Revelations, Hazum. Revelation chapter 20, verse 7. Hazum chapter 20 and verse 7. And when the 1,000 years are ended, Satan will be released from his prison and will come out to deceive the nations. Why? Because Yahuwah made his name great among the nations now. Because he what? He caused earthquake and all these things, the earth to shake, and then what? He said, I'm going to reveal myself to them, and then my name going to be great among the Goyim. But then here comes Satan. Not no more. You know, he coming out. You know, Satan, when he come out, Satan come out with music, right? Like the Joker. He come out with all types of things. And will come out to deceive the nations that are at the four corners of the Aydah. He said, I'm going to deceive the nations at the four corners of the Aydah. Why? Gog and Magog. What do you think Gog and Magog getting ready to do? What do you think he getting ready to do when Satan come and get you? Because some people are going to be a part of Gog and Magog's army, right? And some people are going to be a part of Yahuwah's people. It all depends on where you at in your mind and your heart. And it says, Gog and Magog to gather them for battle. Their number is like the sand of the sea. They got in the battle for what? We just read it in Yekaziah 38. They were going to the mountains, to the Yasharal, those who dwell peacefully and safely and securely on the mountains. You know what he said? Their number is like the sand of the sea, and they marched up over the broad plain of the earth and surrounded the camp of the Qadashim of the beloved city. Oh, that doesn't sound familiar. Oh, you want to be with Gog and Magog now? Yahuwah said, I put it in their heart to do it. I did all this on purpose. Because I just want to test out my power. You know how they be doing these experiments around here and they want to test it out on people? Yahuwah like, I'm going to test it out on them. I like when people do stupid stuff like this. And it says, surrounded the city of the great beloved city. Guess what happened? But fire came down from Shamayim and consumed them. That's what's going to happen to you. We dwell, he says, securely, peaceful, new love and compassion, right? On the mountain, in peace and securely. And you want to mess everything up. That's what Satan come to do. Anytime people are acting and conducting themselves this way, just know that they are part of these people. They with Satan. They work together with Satan. You got the ruach of hatred. And they coming, and you know what they're going to do? Yahuwah said, I'm going to burn them up. You know what happened? He said, I'll be a man of Elohim, let fire come down and consume you. You know what Yahuwah said? And how many times they came up to the mountain to try to take him down? 3 times. And they were like, please don't kill us. But guess what? And it says, in the camp of the saints in the beloved city, and fire came down from Shamayim and consumed them. And the devil, Satan, who had deceived them, was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur where the beast and the false Nabi'im were. So, what are you teaching? What are you teaching? For it's not needful for you, thine eyes to look into things that are in secret. So what are you teaching? You teaching the things that first Enoch said? It says they were thrown into the lake of fire with sulfur because Sheol has enlarged itself without measure. Let me just read that. It's limitless. And you know what it says? And thrown into the fire and sulfur where the beast and the false Nabi'im were, and they were to be tormented day and night forever and ever. So you want to be with them? He said, don't plot against your neighbor. Don't plot and scheme. Don't mess with people who dwell securely in peace and shalom. Don't do that. In Yahuwah. I ain't talking about with other peace. There's other peace types of peace and tranquility and shalom. We talking about with Yahuwah. Don't do it. Don't do it. Then guess what happened? Verse 11. Then I saw a great white throne and him who was seated on it. Uh-oh. It is white. He said white throne. You know what happened? For from his presence, earth and sky fled away, and no place was found for them. He's like, man, the earth and the sky. He said, ain't no place for him no more. He said, I came down. You know what happened? Can you imagine? the earth and the sky. He said, ain't no place. He can get out the way. Can you imagine? You see how huge he is. He ain't little. We little children. He the big adult. And guess what happened? And it says, and I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and a book were opened. Then another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged by what was written in the books. Now you see why you got to stay in a humble, meek, and lowly state. And he knew. According to what they had done. Now you see why you can't return evil for good. They gave me hatred for my love. You can't do that. You can't. And the sea gave up the dead that were in it. Why? Because you remember we read in Jeremiah, he said, man, you know I got this ocean, this sea that I got, that I can make it. I gave a command not to pass the commandment, but I can make it pass the commandment. And he gonna do it eventually. He gave a watch too the other week. He said, why he gave a watch? He gave a watch all over the place. He be like literally like warning people like, hey, I can do this thing today. And people be playing with him. And they be still getting strong drink, they drunk, they ain't regarding the works of Yahuwah, and they be playing with him like it's a joke. And it ain't no joke. Cause it's gonna happen. And guess what? And when it does, the wave come and the thing come take you away, you know what Yahuwah gonna say, I warned you, and then you know what he gonna do? He gonna judge you according to what was said. He gonna be like, you remember that? And he gonna pull you up out of it. He gonna raise you back up though. You're gonna get back to life, but only thing you're gonna remember, the last thing I remember is this wave coming, it hit me in the head. That's all you're gonna remember. According to what had been done, and the sea gave up the dead that were in it. All them slaves you dumped overboard on the side. All them innocent people you threw rocks on in their foot, and you threw them at the bottom of the ocean. All the tsunamis that came, all the landslides that happened, all the things that happened on the earth. He said, I'm gonna judge every single one of them. You know, all the bodies is in the center on the water. Death and Hades gave up the dead who were in them. So you can't imagine all these dimensional doorways opening and all these beings from the other dimensions and other worlds just in the sky and the earth moving out the way and all these dimensional doorways opening up. And they were judged, each one of them, according to what they had done. Then the death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. Huh? So now you need to see why you need Yahushua to come. You will deliver my soul from Sheol. Because that place is going to get thrown in the lake of fire. You don't want to stay there. This is the second death, the lake of fire. And if anyone's name is not written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. They say that's the truth. For everybody. Right? That's why he told Timothy, he said, pay attention to the teaching. You both say yourself, them that hear you. Right? Because this is all a part of it. So we look at all that, we look at Yahushua Mashiach, we look at the light of life and the fear, the yirah of Yahuwah, and to walk in righteousness and purity of mind and purity of thought, and to be gentle, meekness, and lowliness, and kind-hearted. For Yahuwah is going to have a kingdom that overflows with righteousness, and love, and gentleness, and meekness, and joy, and kind, and loving and caring people. Right? Who don't plot and scheme, who don't act in pride and he say in hatred, and don't refusing to lower themselves and to visit all those who've done wrong in person and to show them what you did and why you are so repentant today. Right? We spend our money on so many things, we spend our finances on so many things that don't profit, that will never add to the righteous life that we live. But through Yahushua Mashiach, he said through Yahuwah, who strengthens us, we are able to walk in righteousness and newness of life. Yahuwah Elohim does guard our hearts and our mind from all things that may be round about. But when you are dwelling securely in peace and tranquility, he will come and visit you, whether you like it or not. For we know that Satan dwells in his suggestions of thoughts when no one is to receive the knowledge of salvation, but it's just like any other being that may try to come into our heart and our mind. We know Yahuwah Elohim, through his Ben Yahushua, lives and breathes and has understanding within us, that his light and his aura may resonate through our inner being. For we walk it by amunah and not by sight, and not by the ways of our own self and our own will, our own ambitions and own goals. We put aside our own self and our old ways and our old thoughts, and we return back to Yahuwah with our whole heart, and not in pretense, for he can even see our pretending, and he'll cast us in the lake of fire when we come upon his throne. So even as we walk in carefulness, we walk in gentleness, we walk in meekness. For everything that walks in a will be able to walk in their way securely, and they'll be beloved of him and as approved. For the greater we are, the more humble we humble ourselves, and we find favor before Yahuwah. For many are in high places, and are renowned, but mysteries are revealed unto the the meek. For the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth.